One person is dead and 10 more are seriously wounded after an oil depot in eastern Ukraine caught on fire during shelling.
Flames, as you see, engulfed several 5,000-ton oil tanks after the attack in the city outside Donetsk. Local authorities say the site was the target of a missile strike by the Ukrainian military, though no evidence was provided to back up the claim. The Ukrainian government hasn't issued any official comment on the attack so far.
Meantime, video released today by the local government in Kramatorsk shows damage to an apartment building after overnight shelling, which wounded at least 25 people. 9 houses, a school, and other civilian infrastructure in the eastern Ukrainian city were also damaged, according to the Donetsk regional governor.
Meanwhile, parade rehearsals were taking place in Moscow today ahead of the upcoming Victory Day march in the Russian capital.
Video from the Russian Defense Ministry shows military personnel and military vehicles in the Red Square. According to Russian media, more than 11,000 troops will take part in events for Victory Day, held annually on May 9th to mark the end of the Second World War. So for the latest on the conflict in Ukraine, let's go live now to CTV's Omar Sachedina in Kyiv. Omar, thank you for joining us again. The fighting continues, obviously. We just touched on all those attacks on the oil reserves in Ukraine. But I want to turn now to the bloody battles unfolding inside that steel plant in Mariupol. A Ukrainian commander says the fighting has escalated. And though President Zelensky says that 344 people have managed to escape, that the Russians have not kept their promise to let the remaining civilians go.
That's right, Jennifer. And Nick, you know, you and I have talked about this for several days now, the heroic efforts to try to get these civilians out of that steel facility. And it was going so well. The fact that 100 civilians had been able to escape from that facility and 300 have been able to escape from the city of Mariupol itself, those efforts have been thwarted, and they've been thwarted significantly because the Russians have continued their assault on that plant. We know, based on what the Ukrainian soldiers inside are saying, that Russian soldiers have stormed that facility and have tried to destroy it even further, but the Ukrainians say they've been able to, for now at least, hold them back. For how long they'll be able to do that, that is the big question. We know that there are about 2,000 Ukrainian soldiers still inside. A key date that everybody is looking out for now is May 9th. The reason this is significant is because this is Victory Day, which is one of Russia's largest and biggest patriotic holidays. And so Vladimir Putin has a couple of options. He could either decide to declare a victory in this war, perhaps make a final push on Mariupol and say that he's been able to accomplish what he set out to accomplish, or this war could intensify. He could decide to prolong the war and even call it a war, because so far he has been calling it a special military operation. And that distinction, while it may seem like it's just a game of semantics, it's significant, because if he is able to call it a war, he could impose martial law and tap into a reserve supply of troops. We know that there are thousands of Russians who have died on the battlefield so far. So everybody's waiting to see what happens on May 9th. For Ukraine's part, they are saying that they are not able to launch a major counteroffensive until June, because they just don't have the weapons stash or the supply from the West that they need. So all of this to say that worst case scenario, this is a war that could drag on for several weeks, if not months.
And of course, Omar, we know how weakened, British intelligence came out with a report this week about how weakened the Russian military appears to be right now. So that would be interesting if you declare war, what that opens up for Vladimir Putin. Indeed, just can we circle back really quickly to the oil tanker attacks allegedly at the hands of the Ukrainians in Donetsk there, Omar? What would the purpose be about doing that? Is that effectively because the Russians are making such a focus on the eastern side here that they could sort of do that to disrupt the Russians, even though they may pay a price in Ukraine as well?
Exactly. I mean, there has been such a battle for the East. This has become the new focal point, always has been the focal point, but has been a new focal point. And you know, that is really the contrast in this war. If you're here in the capital, we were out talking to people today, people are actually, Nick, are beginning to return and return in large numbers, whereas in the East, it's a very different story. They're fleeing. They don't know when they'll be able to come back. But certainly the picture here is absolutely different. We know that there are still huge lineups at gas stations. Even we were out shooting our story today and over the past few days, and we have had to stop by multiple gas stations because gas has been rationed. So it goes to show you just how much demand there is in this city. And you know, it also goes to show that no matter where you are, life is certainly different. It's far from normal, but there are varying degrees of how, badly people are suffering. And certainly the worst of that suffering is in the city of Mariupol, which has been the epicenter of civilian suffering, and also in the Donbass region in the east.
Okay, CTV's Omar Sachedina live for us in Kyiv. Thank you.
Thanks, Omar.